All right, hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, glad to have you guys here on this Sunday evening. This is Terry with NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast, and you know what? Today, I am in Vicksburg, Mississippi, to talk to Mr. Brian Riley of Mississippi Paranormal Society. What's going on, brother? How you doing today?
I'm doing good, doing good.
All right, hey, it seems like you outside enjoying the weather there.
Yeah, anytime I get a chance to sit outside when the weather's nice, I do it.
All right, so what's the temperature over there?
Right now, probably about 75.
Oh man, that's perfect weather.
Yeah, it got up to 84 today with hardly any humidity, so
Wow.
it was nice.
Yeah, oh man, I bet it was. Too bad I was stuck at work and
Oh
a
man,
nice cool day over here, man. I mean, I really hate that. Being stuck at work when you can be out enjoying it, doing something besides
yeah.
working. You know what I'm saying? But okay, well, you know what? Let's tell the world a little about Mississippi Paranormal.
Well, uh, tell its story. I need to kind of tell a little bit of mine. Whenever I was a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple of odd experiences. I didn't know what was really going on. I knew they weren't normal. I knew they were of the paranormal origin, but I really didn't know much about ghosts or anything like that. Uh, by the time I was 19, I started researching it. I got into reading about parapsychology, haunted locations around Mississippi
Mm-hmm.
and throughout the United States and the world. And I ended up meeting this group of guys, and they were some good old boys, and they liked going out to very secluded cemeteries. And mostly it was just they had a cassette recorder, a camera, and a lot of beer. I
Hey, ain't
think we
nothing
paid
wrong with
more
that.
attention to the beer.
Sound like a good night already.
Yes, it does. And I brought three of my friends into that group. Just a bunch of guys hanging out. Ryan, Chase, and D were their names. And
Mm-hmm.
some people had heard about our little adventures and everything and asked if we would like to come into their house and see if we could figure out what was going on.
Okay.
I probably knew just by researching the paranormal a little bit more than everybody else. Not a lot more, but a little bit more. And I think I was the only one out of all of us, before I brought my three friends in, that actually took it seriously because of the research I did. I was very curious. I had a very curious mind. And I told them, yeah, sure. I talked to the guys and everything. We set a date, went in, and within the first hour and a half, the three guys that started it all
Mm-hmm.
left the house.
Oh wow.
Left me and my three friends in there. And the odd thing is, that's where Mississippi Paranormal Society was born back in 1995. Actually, November 1st. We can never figure out what date we agreed,
Mm-hmm.
and it'd be too cliche to choose Halloween.
Ah.
So November 1st, we decided on. And so 27 years later. But that one house we investigated several times under different families. So that's how I got into it, and mostly started doing private residences for the most
Mm-hmm.
part. My three friends, they had some experiences here and there. throughout their lives, and we all agreed, hey, we should do something to help people. We can have fun with it, but we need to learn it, and we need to, whatever we learn, we need to educate people, and we need to see if we can help them. Because as the cases went on, and a lot of paranormal investigators, they'll back me up on this, the more you learn, the more experiences you have, see that there's different experiences that you can have. I apologize for the yapping dog over there.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Trust me.
It wants more attention than me, apparently. uh, but it it was just, it's been a fun ride helping people and doing historic locations. I really got into doing historic locations back around 2009, 2010. So,
All right.
yeah,
Cool.
it's a lot of fun.
All right. Hey, a quick shout out. Tommy Bunfield said, "Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing, Tommy, this evening?" Berto from the RGV. That's the Rio Grande Valley. That's South Texas. Hey,
Oh,
what's going
nice.
on, man? Hey, glad to have you guys on the show tonight. Then I'm saying tonight we got Mr. Brian from Mississippi Paranormal Society in Vicksburg, Mississippi. You know, hey, love to have this guy come on. I reached out to him a couple of weeks ago, to come on the show, and he agreed to me. And hey, and here he is tonight, man. So hey, if you guys got any questions for this gentleman, feel free to ask, and I will relay them to him. Or if Mr. Brian can see them, he should be able to answer them for you.
Let me
You know what
see
I'm
if I can
saying?
pull the chat up. Yeah, Tommy, what's going on, man? I know Tommy. Saw him yesterday at our event.
There you go. Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about your team. Is it a younger team, older team, a team that I already
Well,
seem like I know two of them already.
yeah, well, like most paranormal groups, especially that's been around for as long as MPS has been, the three guys I formed the group with, they left. Uh, one, well, two of them moved out of state.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, he just lost the passion for it, basically, which that happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, and he was also the more nervous one when it came to things. So I think that might have had something to do with it. He had a few bad experiences, which that's his story to tell.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I'd stay in contact with him. We're still very close friends.
Okay.
Um, but over the years, it's just been a rotating door of members. And last year, I was just so unhappy with having to do everything by myself. I felt
Mm-hmm.
like I was going, doing all the leg work, all the interviews and everything. Nobody had time. And I was ready to call it quits in the field. And I ended up, except for one person, Josh, who's like a little brother to me, um, I kept him on the team, and everybody else, I was like, but y'all gonna take some time off, and at the same time, there was things I wanted to do in my own life because I've dedicated so much time to the paranormal throughout
Mm-hmm.
my life. I wanted to do things for myself, and so 2022 was, I did investigations here and there and everything, but it's been a nice break from 2 or 3 cases a month.
Okay.
So, but come January, uh, I'm going to rebuild the team, probably bring a couple of former members back on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, have a lot of serious talks. Might get 2 or 3 more new members. Teach them my protocol on how I like things to be investigated.
Right.
Starting from first point of contact with a client till we sit down with them and show them our evidence, and everything in between. Um, Running a team is very hard, especially whenever you have several schedules in it, because not everybody's schedules, matches up to
Exactly.
get together, have meetings, go into investigations, the whole 9 yards.
I feel you on that one, man. It's really hard trying to, you know, maintain one thing, then trying to maintain another. You got 30 different things going on in your head. It, it gets
Yep.
pretty hectic. It gets pretty
Oh yeah.
hectic. Brian, are you married?
No,
Oh,
no,
so okay. I was
no.
gonna ask you. I was gonna
Huh?
ask you, what's your significant others think about you doing this?
Uh, Whenever I've dated somebody, uh, they've been into the paranormal.
Okay.
Um, there's one lady I've been talking to, and she's not really into it,
Mm-hmm.
but that's cool to me because I mean she's interested in it to a point. She doesn't want to join a team or anything.
Ah.
She likes
So
hearing the stories and stuff.
okay.
Um, she, might want to go on an investigation every now and then, but she's got her own life and everything. And whenever we have time for one another, we'll do something and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Relationships in the paranormal, and on paranormal teams are very hard sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Uh, it, if you dating somebody and you bring them onto your team and then you break up, you're kind of screwed because your
Right.
team, you lose somebody you've been dating, and at the same time, you might end up losing a good team member.
Yeah, losing a member, and members I know they for a fact are hard to find.
Yeah, yeah, dedicated people are
Yeah,
hard to find.
and I'm the type of guy that you probably feel the same way since you're an older gentleman. Uh, I like dealing with the older, the older people that might not be a little bit curious in the paranormal, but but they
Yep,
don't bring that drama. They don't bring no luggage with them.
yeah,
So I kind of set my age between the ages of 40 and up. You know, for the simple fact, they know how to talk to people. They know how to communicate.
hmm
And they have that that respect. Whether
yep,
either way, so compared to a youngling, because that's what I call them today, because they're young and
hmm
and they still wet behind the ears, and and some of them are out there, they just want to do it for the thrill factor, for the thrill of the hunt. Hey, I did this, blah blah blah, and I'm gone.
yeah,
It's I'm really not looking for anybody like that. So
yeah.
that's
The thrill seekers are the ones that messes this field up for everybody.
oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Hey, I got a bucket list. I want to be a ghost hunter. On my butt. I'm like, okay, well, hey, if you want to do that, don't waste my time. You go waste your time and, start your own team or do whatever you want to do. But you're not gonna come over here wasting mine. You
Yeah,
know.
and that's one reason why I like to do events is for you know I'll do a ghost hunting event if I can find a location that needs the money.
Mm-hmm.
We won't do an event for ourselves. We'll like Southern Cultural Heritage Center, where we were at last night. Great place. They do a lot of community stuff. They do a lot of like classes and things like that. Excuse me. A lot of different events and everything throughout the year, but it's all based on donations. And any money that we can help them bring in,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they get it. Pay the bills, staff, whatever. But at the same time, on the paranormal side, people buy the tickets, and
Right.
this is their chance to come in and step into our shoes. And I like I told everybody at our last couple of events, Natchez Little Theater in Natchez, Mississippi, was the event before. Um, Still an open case on the investigation of it, and they're a part of that open case. And I found out through that event and last night, people took it a lot more serious. They weren't like thrill seeking. They were
Hmm.
really interested in the evidence that we could find,
Oh wow.
which made it so much better,
Oh yeah, definitely.
and that's why, like I said, that's why I like to do ghost hunting events. So whenever I come across people, oh, I want to go on one. October and November, you'll have your chance. You just got to buy a ticket for this place to get the money. Come join us. I really don't want to take a bunch of thrill seekers on an investigation.
Exactly.
You
Hey,
know,
I feel
I
you on that one.
I try to take every investigation I do seriously for the science of paranormal investigating and to try to find answers, try to figure stuff out, not just for myself, but for you know people that live or work in a haunted location.
Okay, cool. Tell me a little bit about Mississippi.
Uh,
Were you born there?
yeah, born and raised
Okay.
right here in Vicksburg. Uh, I love this town. Love the state. It's a pretty good state. There's a lot of stereotypes. Texas has a lot of stereotypes.
Oh yeah,
You know,
definitely.
the South has a lot of stereotypes, and I hear them all the time. I have friends from up north, and they'll throw out a stereotype, and I'm like, really? Uh, Everybody here basically gets along, especially here in Vicksburg.
Hmm.
Uh, no real hard troubles or anything. Uh, a lot of history, pre-Civil War, and of course the siege of Vicksburg in 1863
Hmm.
during the Civil War. Um, that adds to the paranormal as well. Um, a lot of hard times that Vicksburg has gone through, kind of crumbling after the Civil War and being rebuilt, and then crumbling again and being rebuilt. A lot of ups and downs throughout the whole state. It's like that. I think a lot of people all over the country nowadays is finding that out
Oh
because
yeah,
of all the price hikes and everything.
it's crazy.
It is, and but Mississippi, it's a good state. Um, I enjoy living here. I enjoy investigating a lot of the locations here.
Now it seems like Vicksburg is. Man, it seems like you don't have to go far for an investigation. I mean, it seems like the whole little town,
Oh
pretty
yeah,
much has a history to tell. You know,
oh yeah, definitely. We have places like Cedar Grove Mansion. It was used as a hospital during the siege of Vicksburg.
hmm.
Duff Green Mansion, same thing with them. They were used as a hospital during the siege of Vicksburg. Um, a lot of the hauntings tie to natural deaths in like certain buildings, but for the most part, in the historical places, bed and breakfast and historic homes that we have, but they tie to the Civil War or the Reconstruction era.
Right.
Um, McRaven Tour Home, which has been on quite a few TV shows, TV and YouTube. Um, it's regarded as Mississippi's most haunted historic home.
Oh
And I
wow.
worked there under the current owners and the previous owner as a tour guide. And that place was nuts. Um, Activity every day in there. Uh, where else? Hotels. Um, go down the road on 61 South to Natchez, Mississippi, another very haunted city. Um, Eola Hotel, which was built in the early 1900s. A lot of deaths occurred in there. We've investigated that several times.
Ooh-wee.
Uh, Restaurants, King's Tavern, that was actually on the TV show Haunted Collector and Ghost Adventures. Um, Very interesting restaurant. It's up for sale now. I don't know how much it is, but somebody needs to go buy it. So
Oh,
it's just sitting there. It's been sitting there since 2020.
wow, just vacant.
Yeah, and I wish somebody would buy it.
Wow, that'd be
But
interesting.
yeah, there's just so many great haunted places in Mississippi. Especially, I'm not knocking anywhere else in the state, but Vicksburg and Natchez are the two most haunted cities in Mississippi.
Oh wow, man.
And I think it's because just of the major histories that have happened here in these cities.
Hmm.
Um,
That,
yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
that seemed. I mean, it seemed like you just walk down the street, man, with the camera, you'll catch something.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That
Yeah,
that sounds really really interesting.
yeah. There's been times where I'll go on the back roads and just start driving. One time, I was actually coming from Jackson, Mississippi, and I hit Highway 80, which is basically just a back road. And right around the area where the Battle of Champions Hill was, which was a battle along the um, General Grant's march to Vicksburg.
Mm-hmm.
They had a battle right there. So right up in that area, I'm driving down, probably going about 55 miles an hour. I see this guy just walking on the side of the road. As I got closer to him, I was trying to figure out what he was wearing. And as soon as I passed him, I was like, that looked like a Union soldier.
Oh wow.
And I slammed on brakes and I looked behind me. Nobody was there.
Oh
And
we.
to this day, yeah, you're right. You can basically just go for a drive somewhere. You can go walk out in downtown Vicksburg, start taking photos and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's no telling what you're going to catch.
Ooh wee, boy, that town really seems interesting. Now, hey, there any slave plantations around there?
There are a few. Um, let's see. Most of the plantations here, like Cedar Grove, Duff Green Mansion, um, McRaven, most of them, all the old pre-Civil War plantations. Yeah, there was slaves there and everything. Around Natchez, we've come in contact with spirits of slaves in
Oh,
several places down there.
how'd that go?
Magnolia Hall in Natchez. We've investigated it several times, and then we took a break for a couple of years. And whenever we went back, on the second floor in the children's room, what they call the children's room, there was a door. And we never thought about this door. And one day it was open, and I asked one of the tour guides that was going to be with us during our investigation,
Mm-hmm.
say, what's back there? She said, well, that was an apartment, but before that was the slave quarters for the house slaves.
Oh wow.
I was like, oh, okay. I was like, anything ever happened there? She's like, I don't know. I've never really been back there.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, and she's had experiences what, throughout the years of working there herself. Um, Great lady, Miss Esther, love her to death. Uh, but she, I don't think she ever really went back there. But two of my investigators during that investigation, she jumped in on it, and they went into the old slave quarters. And of course, my two investigators were white, and Miss Esther was black,
Mm-hmm.
and all three of them were like, "I don't think we're really wanted in this area," and especially like Chris and Kristen, who were on my team at the time,
Mm-hmm.
they felt very unwelcome.
Oh wow.
And I was like, well, tread lightly, just
Oh
be
yeah,
respectful.
please.
Yeah, be respectful. Don't go in there provoking or anything. Um, just talk to them like you would any other spirit. You know, try to find out their name, what their deal is, how they passed. Do they want to move on? Stuff like that. Uh, I've never really came across too many um, negative spirits in a lot of the historic homes, especially the ones that had slaves in it.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, the ones I've come across, like at Magnolia Hall, I've done sessions in that old slave quarters. Never had a bad experience. Didn't feel welcome, but
But never had a bad experience.
never had I didn't have anything thrown at me. Didn't get EVPs that were profane or anything like had profanity or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just I just felt like, okay, I need to do a quick session and get out because,
Right.
from my understanding, you know, I, the I'm gonna say their boss. I hate saying the M word, master. I hate saying that, but he would be the only one that could go into that area, basically. But that was their living quarters. Nobody else would have been welcome except for the person that owned it.
Right.
So we were kind of like, yeah, we're not him, so we're not staying long.
Right.
But yeah, I've never had any bad experiences with it, which,
Hmm.
knock on wood, that keeps up.
Right. Well, tell me a little bit about how does the community, how does the city of Vicksburg, uh, react to you guys? I mean, they know you there. You know, do they call you if they need anything, or if they see anything? How does the community react towards you?
Uh, it's about 50-50.
50-50.
Um, yeah, you have your non-believers, your skeptics, of course, and I've always told skeptics, look, come to one of our events, and we're not going to try to you know prove that ghosts exist,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe you'll have an experience you can't explain. Uh, People around Vicksburg have asked for our assistance in their historic locations, their businesses, their homes. Um, it's it's about 50-50. You have some that welcome us with open arms, into their homes and whatnot. And then there's others, they think that we're all a bunch of crazy people.
Yeah, I get that a lot. You know what I'm saying? I get that a lot. I was talking about that today at work. You're like, well, you're a paranormal investigator. I've heard all kind of things, but you ain't never came up in here and never told me if you got bit, scratch. I'm like, well, you know what? In order for somebody, in order for that to happen, you have to provoke. And if you provoke something, of course they're going to retaliate because you're disrespecting them. So
Exactly.
I'm not that type of guy. That just want to just pop in someplace and especially a place where I don't know anything about. Then just start talking a bunch of trash to a bunch of people and just think that I'm not gonna get a reaction out of. I mean, I want a reaction, of course, but I don't
Yeah,
want that type of reaction. You know,
yeah,
uh,
exactly.
And it's just like I was telling them, I like, you know what? If you guys think for one moment that these guys aren't listening to everything that you say, you got another thing coming. Because just because they're gone, they're listening. And they can see you, and they can hear you, and they damn sure can understand you.
Oh yeah,
So,
definitely. But that's one thing that a lot of people don't understand is you go into a haunted location and how can I put this? You go in and you do your investigation where you know this as well as I do. You know, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me.
mhm.
You can do that for 5 or 6 hours or however long. But whenever we're done, we pick up our stuff and we go. Doesn't mean that they're done.
Right?
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. And, you know, that's what causes, spikes of activity in houses after paranormal groups leave,
Exactly.
and it's like working, like I've never really done it or anything. It's like a Ouija board. What we do is very similar to it because we're opening that line of communication for them. And if you don't close it like you would close a Ouija board session, you're going to have them wanting to communicate all the time.
Yeah.
That's just how I see it. And yeah, we get I get people all the time. Oh, I can't believe you believe in that stuff. And I have really fun conversations with skeptics. And at one time, I used to take skeptics on investigations.
you know, skeptics are very interesting people. You know,
They,
they are non-believers, and you know what? And everybody I talked to in my podcast, I've talked to 100 different paranormal investigators from across the country, and and I always tell them, skeptics are good,
mhm,
for the world. Because
yeah,
if there was no skeptics, everybody would agree with everything. Nobody would
right,
want to say, no, I think this, I think that. So a good skeptic is healthy for you. Especially
yeah,
if you got one on the team that can go in and validate, what you thought you saw, what you
mhm,
thought you
yeah,
heard.
exactly.
And so I mean, they're very good, but then you got some out there, man. You can present all the evidence in the world, all the
Yeah,
legitimate evidence in the world, and they would still. I mean, your evidence could be 100% proof. This actually
yeah,
happened. That I actually saw this, heard this, and they would still find a way or figure something out on. Well,
mhm,
no, that's not true. That's not this. That's not that.
yeah.
And those guys are nuts. Now, tell me about the Battle of Vicksburg. Now, is this a battleground? Is it Mississippi historical landmark?
Yeah, well, yeah, the Vicksburg National Military Park, um, which is haunted. I mean, whenever I was in high school, I worked out there on the Living History crew as a reenactor. Um, it was a 47-day siege. In May of 1863, whenever Grant arrived to Vicksburg, he tried two assaults on the city. And since Vicksburg sits on high ridges and bluffs,
Mm-hmm.
it was hard for his troops to get up the ridges and bluffs. And the Confederate soldiers, they were just picking them off. So after two failed attempts, he decided, well, I'm going to lay siege to the city and basically starved us into submission.
Oh, really? Wow.
47 days. 47 days. Uh, they shelled the city mostly during the day, but they did it at night. We had ironclad boats, Admirals Porter and Farragut. on the Mississippi River. They were shelling from that way. Grant and Sherman were shelling from, around that.
Right.
Uh, they cut off food supplies to the citizens as well as the Confederate troops. Um, Homes like Cedar Grove and Duck Green and McRaven and several others were turned into hospitals for wounded citizens and soldiers from both sides. Um, it was very bad, so that General Pemberton, the Confederate general, on July 4th, 1863, he surrendered to Grant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Now,
and no, go ahead.
is it is that place? Have you investigated that Civil War battleground?
I wouldn't say investigated because a lot of military parks, national monuments, and stuff like that, they really don't want to recognize the paranormal,
Oh,
which is
really?
weird because up in Gettysburg, they're like open the doors wide for a paranormal team. But it's hard to get permission, especially here in Mississippi, to go to a national park and sometimes even a state park to do an investigation. Um, when I worked out there on the Living History crew, and this is after I had one of my early experiences. We were out there one night, I remember, just everybody on the Living History crew, and we would hear residual cannon fire, talking, uh, musket fire, uh, screams,
Oh, wow.
and it was unnerving, just to hear all that. And I've always wanted to go back, but there's so much paperwork, and it takes probably 5 or 6 months to get approved.
Oh, that is crazy. Now,
Yeah,
I always thought a state park, if it's state funded, it's free to the public.
pretty
You
much,
should.
but yeah, but it might be free to the public, but at the same time, they may have certain hours.
Like a 9 to 5, or
Yeah,
or
yeah, and they don't want to really pay any of their rangers or their park rangers or anything to stay there at night with a paranormal group.
that is
And
crazy.
yeah, several years ago, I tried to get into the National Military Park, and I asked them, "What do I need to do?" And one of the things that they told me was, "Well, you're going to have a park ranger with you, and you're going to have to pay him so much an hour that y'all are out here." And I was like, "Wait a minute. He's an employee of the Department of Interior, and isn't it against the law for them to moonlight?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, but you're paying under." I was like, "I'm gonna pay him under the table." It's
That's
like, how about if I
interesting.
call the Department of Interior and tell them about our conversation? And I just hung up the phone on the dude. I was like, "No," because he wanted us to pay like $40 an hour.
Damn.
I was like, I would have been in there 30 minutes and been like, here's a 20, bye.
You know what?
You're not
That
getting
sounds like something
you're
I
not
would
getting your
do.
full 40. You're not getting your full 40, dude.
Yeah, right. Hey, tell me, man, some of the equipment that you work with.
Uh, Usual basic equipment, K2 meters,
Mm-hmm.
millimeters, rim pods, uh, SLS, um, the Wonderbox device. I love ITC devices, Spirit Box, Oculus, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think my favorite device is an audio recorder. I love audio. I
Audio.
love hearing the EVPs. Um, I'm an audio person all day. Um, yeah, audio recorder, Spirit Box, um, Wonder Box, or Portal device. Those are my favorites. Outside of that, I love a REM pod.
Grandpa. You know, I really want. This is probably a little bit before your time, but I remember a TV show back in the late '70s called Kolchak. You remember that?
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
you were probably a youngling when that show came out. But you know what? I've been looking for a tape recorder like that for the longest time, and I can't find one. Those things right there, dude, they record everything.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. The
And
old cassette recorders and
yeah,
big tape recorders.
yeah,
Actually, you can get the. You remember the flat cassette recorders from the '80s?
yep.
You can actually order those.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. They're like 25, $30 in some places.
I'm gonna have to get one of those, man, because
Yeah,
those things are actually a lot better than some of the new
they
technology
are,
that's out there today.
and I think it's because of that magnetic strip in it.
Yeah, and it,
And the theory is that the magnetic will actually, capture more on that tape.
yeah,
And
and that
when I started investigating, that's what we used.
yeah, that's one of my favorite old school devices. Him and that damn microphone.
Uh huh.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that guy there, man. I think he was the one of the blueprints for paranormal investigating because you know he was always by himself. He never had a team.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
was always doing into stuff he ain't got no business being into. Just like the paranormal investigators today.
Yeah.
We got to do whatever we can to get that footage and that audio. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
Yeah. Exactly.
some, sometimes I'm not proud of it, but I gotta, jump a fence or two, or crawl under a fence or two. I mean,
In my early
I've
days,
done
I've
it.
done that. In my early days, I did that. I know exactly what you're saying. I think one of my biggest influences, you're talking about that TV show. Um, I read a lot of Hans Holzer's books, the
Okay.
parapsychologist, and he had a show. I want to say it was Ghosts or something like that back in the '60s. I don't think it lasted very long,
Oh
but
wow.
him and the Warrens, Ed and Lorraine,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, they were the real forefathers of paranormal investigating, bringing it into modern times.
Right. Right.
And then all the years later, because of TV and everything, uh, Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, Paranormal State, those were your early popular shows, as well as Unsolved Mysteries and A Haunting and stuff like that.
Yeah. Now, I'm glad you brought that up because that was my next, my next question for you. How do you feel about the paranormal TV shows today? Do you
Uh,
think, I mean, do you think they help the average paranormal investigator or, they do the total opposite, because
man,
some of them are flukes out there.
for real. I mean, I've met a lot of them over the years. As people, some of them are really good people. Some of them not so good. Um, as far as the TV shows that they have done, in a way, they have done really good service to our field because they've
Mm-hmm.
brought paranormal investigating into mainstream America. because you turn on the Travel Channel, or several years back the Sci-Fi Channel or Destination America. Those three channels had paranormal shows on them all the time.
Right, right.
Now
You're definitely
everything's
right
over
on
on
that.
Discovery Plus, and still the Travel Channel is putting out, really good shows. I think it's helped and has hurt because I see a lot of drama in the field, and I cannot stand drama. I will run away from it like it's a bad rash. I've seen groups tear each other down, and that doesn't hurt just that one group. Whenever one team does that, it hurts every group.
Yeah, it hurts the whole community, and
It really does.
and that's something that I hear on on a weekend basis on how teams are this, teams are that. Founders did this, founders of that. To me, if you just stick to the game plan and come
Mm,
in and do what you're told, well, not even do what you're told because I don't like that word, told. You
do
know,
us
you don't tell
expected.
anybody. Yeah,
Do us
I don't like that
expected.
word. If you just ask somebody, to, do this or, do that,
Hmm.
or just be a part of the team. I think everything will work out, man, because you're only with that individual probably for a short period of time.
Yeah,
And then you really go on and you continue with your life or whatever. But
yeah.
it's I don't understand it. I really don't. It seems me. I can get along with anybody.
Yeah.
I have no problem with anybody on this planet. If one of my members say, "Hey, I think we should investigate this place," okay, that's fine. If you come to me and tell me, and we agree on it, that's your baby. You're the lead
Hmm.
investigator. This is your baby.
Yep.
I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna watch the show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
I've
however
done
you
that.
lead it, that's how you lead it.
Yeah.
You know,
I've
I,
done that.
I'm not quick to criticize anybody or judge anybody because that's not in my book.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So,
There's
uh,
good teams out there. There's bad teams out there. I think with the TV shows, a lot of people have thought, hey, this is a great way for me to get a bunch of likes on social media. I can become a digital creator. I can put out YouTube shows, go to these haunted locations and, you know, investigate them and put that on YouTube. Maybe try to sell it to Discovery or something.
mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to be a star,
Yeah.
especially in the last 5 years. Uh, Dude, in 27 years of doing this, here in Mississippi alone, and I actually had a conversation a while back where I had to think of groups that has come and gone, and it's over 50 since the TV shows started
Oh
back in
wow.
2003, 2004. Over 50 teams have
Oh
come and
wow.
and there might be 8 teams in Mississippi now.
Now, are you the only team in Vicksburg?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
You got your own little part right there, all to yourself.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing: if a good team is out there and they want to come investigate a place, come on. You know, yeah. I'm not going to be one of those. And I've had this happen to me. You know, I'll say on Facebook or something. Oh, we're looking at going to such town,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a paranormal tale. Oh, this is our town. This is our territory. And I'm like, what? Oh, there's territories now. What? When did we start
Man,
sectioning things off?
dude, I've hey, I've never heard of that before.
It has happened. It has
How?
happened to several people, several good teams. will get kept
How
out of places because other teams act like they own a city or property. Like,
how in the
I won't,
hell
I
is
won't,
that? How is that even logical? How is that even? How can somebody even get the nerves to put that in their mouth and say this is my town?
I don't know. It happens more with properties.
That is
I,
crazy.
I won't name the property, but there's one house we investigated back in 2011 or 12. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
2011. And investigated it a couple of times, and a few years went by. I contacted um, the person who owned the house. That person got a house manager, and
Okay.
this dude, he was acting like his word was final and everything. So I went around him like, this is I run this house now, blah blah blah. You got to go through me. I don't know if I want you in here. I was like, you work for her.
Right?
I mean, he was a paranormal investigator as well, but I was like, you're trying to lay territory to it. He's like, well, I put a lot of time and energy
Oh
into this.
Lord.
I'm like, do you pay property taxes? Do you pay the electricity bill? Do you pay the phone bill? Do you pay the water and gas? Do you pay the
Exactly.
garbage? No. I was like, well, I don't answer
Uh,
to you. I answer to the
exactly.
homeowner. And
Eh,
yeah, there's been teams that have tried to keep us out of other locations.
Man, the only
You know,
person, if I go to a location and if your name ain't on that deed, I'm not talking to you.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And you can say or do whatever you want to do, but I'm just gonna go around you, and I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Now, if the owner says I don't have a problem with it, that hey, we're gonna rock and roll. Now, if she says hey no, then we still gonna rock and roll either way it go, cause there's other
All right, on
locations
somewhere else.
that we can go to. You know what I'm
Yeah, and
saying?
yeah, and
I can't believe that. That I mean, I've never heard that
this
before in my life.
it's happened a few times. There was a team probably about 5 years ago. They started doing some investigating in Natchez, and I've been investigating in Natchez since probably 2010, heavily investigating down there. And hold on a second, my cat's acting goofy.
Uh
Let me
oh.
see. Morticia, you know, well, I think she saw a bug.
Oh, wow.
uh, but we have been investigating there for years, heavily. Um, Businesses, historic places, private residences. This other team, one of these fly-by-night teams that I was mentioning earlier, um, they put word out to all the other paranormal groups. You have to go through us to go to Natchez. And I was like, how much experience do you have in the paranormal?
Right?
You don't know how apparently this works. And they're like, well, we're going to run you out of Natchez if we ever see you
I
there.
wish the hell you would.
Dude, hand to God, because I have team members that could, or former team members that were on team at the time that could back me up on this. We went on Facebook and we announced we were going to Natchez,
Hmm.
and they made the little angry face on the like thing.
Uh
We went to
huh.
Natchez and they didn't try a fucking thing.
Oh, they better not. They know better.
No, because the connections that I have in Natchez, I could have had them escorted out of that county.
That's
I mean,
crazy,
it's
dude.
just nuts around Mississippi at times with paranormal teams. These teams, they're fly by night teams. They think they're going to come in and just take over everything. And I'm the mindset. I'm like you. Everybody can get along. Everybody can
Exactly.
investigate a place. We don't pay the bills of these places. We're not. laying stake to anything,
That's
and
unbelievable, dude. I can't
I,
believe that's going on. And you know what?
yeah,
And Mississippi is not a big state, but it's not a
no,
small state either. And dude, I'm
no,
pretty sure there's plenty of places
oh yeah,
that's been undiscovered by a paranormal investigator.
oh there's towns I haven't even been to yet, like
You know,
Corinth, Mississippi, Tupelo, Columbus, Columbia, Laurel, Mississippi. There's a lot of towns that has several haunted locations. And before I decide I'm done with this field, you know, I'm going to hit those cities. And that's one thing I'm going to do next year. I love the places I've been to,
uh huh.
and I look forward to going back to them. But I think the next 2 or 3 years, I want to concentrate heavily on new places. You know, maybe these places are having problems, or maybe they want to try to figure out a way that they can use their place being haunted as an
Right.
advantage. Because, like a bed and breakfast,
Oh yeah, definitely.
a lot of bed and breakfasts and hotels, they'll actually use that being haunted to draw people in. Because us paranormal investigators, we're going to go to them and stay the
Yeah.
night.
Yeah,
That's
you're not
business.
kidding about that. If you build it, we will come.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
uh, I mean, long as they don't try to jack the prices up, man. I mean, some of these places, Brian, are really. I mean, come on, dude. You're
Yeah,
asking for five, six, $700 for a night of investigating. Let's
yeah.
think logically on that.
Well,
You,
and
you,
what's
you.
bad is whenever they ask for that much money and they won't let you in there for 4 hours.
And I'm not gonna do that.
That's
Sorry.
nuts. And I'm like, if you don't have the reputation of Valeska Axe Murder House, West Virginia State Penitentiary, the Whaley House, uh, any big haunted location that's been on several TV shows
Exactly.
over the years, you don't need to charge $500-600. Even if they've been on one
Exactly.
TV show, they don't need to be charging $500-600 for 4 hours, which
Let's,
is usually how much time they want you in there and then gone.
so basically, they if they're charging, they're basically charging you $100 an hour.
Yeah, yeah, and you better have a big team so everybody can, you know,
Yeah.
that's
Do you
whenever I
know
will
how? Yeah, that's crazy. Do you know how big your team would have to be to split that? You got to be at least 10 to 12
six
deep.
at least. Well, that's one thing that I won't say the location, but they charged us $500 one time to come in, and this place was cool to the point where they were going to let us stay the whole night. So we took air mattress and stuff. I had 5 people. No, I had 6 people on the team at the time. I ended up inviting another team who had 4 people, and then I invited a couple that was a uh, in the paranormal field. So that was 6 people right there. So we divided 500 between 12 times. 12, 50, 512, which I can't remember how much that was right off, but we all pulled our money together,
Uh,
and it made it a lot easier. They didn't have to come out of one person's pocket.
Dude, can you imagine if you come out of one person's pocket? That unless you're a millionaire, I just don't see that happening with one person.
No, no,
Especially on this end, I can't. You know, there's a
I
lot of
can't do that.
places. There's a lot of places in Texas that does that. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
there is a lot of places, and you know what? I refuse to go to them. You know,
yeah,
people ask me all the time, "Hey, have you ever been to, uh, mineral wells?"
yeah.
Nope, not gonna go. Have you ever been down to what is that haunted hospital down south? There's a haunted hospital. Nope,
Uh, I think I know which one you're talking about.
I ain't been down there. Ain't gonna go.
Can't remember the name of it.
You know,
Uh,
I
Jefferson, Texas, the old Jefferson Hotel.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And you know
I'd
what?
love to go there.
I would too, but I'm not paying it.
Yeah, actually, I think you could just stay the night there, rent a room, and stay the night. And I don't know if you have to pay extra to investigate. That's
Well,
something I'll have to look into. But that's like 4 hours from me, five
I,
hours from me.
I think if you rent the hotel, I mean, if you rent a room, the access to the hotel is free,
Yeah,
so you
yeah,
should be able to go wherever. And
yeah.
and they tried to do that a couple of weeks ago. This guy wanted to charge us. How much was that? $300? No, yeah, no, $700 for one
Wow.
suite. For one suite, seven
Oh,
hundred dollars, and that's just for one night. And I'm like, you out of your damn mind. So I talked
I
it
better be
over.
getting pampered really good for $700 freaking.
Yeah, I talked it over with my wife, and she's like, "Hey, I'll see you at the Best Western down in the next town over." Because I'll be
Smart lady,
damned if I fucking do that shit.
smart
And it,
lady.
yep, and it cost me $162,
Yeah,
which was a hell of a lot better than 700.
yeah,
But
yeah. Visitations. I mean, some of them I can understand if they have a very good reputation of being haunted. And like I said a little while ago, if they've been on multiple TV shows, multiple publications, Waverly Hills, um, Trans Allegheny, places like that,
Uh huh.
I can understand why they would charge a good chunk of money, especially since they're trying to keep the place up.
Exactly.
But for a haunted home, even if it's a bed and breakfast, or just a historic home, tour home here in Vicksburg, to charge $500-600, there's no way. Because whenever I think of $500 or $600, I'm thinking Velisca, you know,
Hmm.
because that's got a reputation.
Get down. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I'm
How
like you.
far?
I'm not gonna spend a lot of money.
Oh no, I'm not finna. You know what? Even if I was to drive out of town, to do an investigation, I'm still not gonna spend that amount of money. You know what I'm saying?
And I've been very blessed with being able to form really good relationships with several locations,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's they're privately owned or like Magnolia Hall is owned by the Natchez Garden Club. I formed a relationship with them. And mostly, if I want to go investigate, the tour guide or manager or whoever's going to be there with us, we pay them probably like $50 for 6 hours.
Which is really good.
And they investigate with us.
Oh, that's
So, and
awesome right there.
it's awesome. And a lot of places, we just call and, hey, are you, are we able to come in and investigate on such date? No, I don't have anything down, so come on.
Okay.
And that's one reason. That's why I like to stay away from drama and stuff because
Mm-hmm.
and you form these really good relationships with these places, and you do events for them. And whenever they need something, they call you if we need to help them out with something.
Exactly.
And in return, they're like, "Hey, you helped us out on this. Choose a night, come investigate." And you build relationships with them, and you won't have to pay the crazy five, six, $700 to go
Right.
investigate places.
Yeah, you're definitely right on that. Hey, how does law enforcement, you know, what do they think about you guys?
I got some stories for you. Actually, last night at our Southern Cultural Heritage Center event, this guy who was doing security for the event, he's a retired police officer, and he's a part-time investigator on the sheriff's department now.
Mm-hmm.
And he and I got to talking. He's a really great guy. We had a great conversation for about almost an hour. And I asked him, I was like, "So you ever get any calls like from 911 saying, you know, hey, I'm locked in my room and I'm hearing, people in my house. I need help." And they'll go up there, they'll go in the house, nobody's there except for that one person that locked themselves in that bedroom. They actually get calls like that.
Oh wow.
And whenever I worked at McRaven Tour Home, and that's all it was. It wasn't a bed and breakfast. It was just a tour home. It was just a museum.
Mm-hmm.
There was quite a few times where the owner would call me if because they lived out of town, and it'd be 11, midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. "Hey, Brian, the alarm's going off. I can't get a hold of the manager. Can you go over there and uh, check the alarm, make sure everything's all right?" He turned off the alarm remotely, but law enforcement was already there.
Right.
Law enforcement wasn't going to go in that house. And I went up there this one particular time, and it was so funny. I was like, I called 911 on the way up there, and I said, "Hey, relate to the officer at McRaven that I'm on the way and I am packing. So, you know, just be careful whenever I come on the property because
Right.
there's a long walkway." And hold on one second. Something's going on with this. There we go. Oh, nope, I didn't do. Trying to get my charger to go.
Ah.
All right, got it. And but like I said, I called 911. I said, relate to the officer on the property of McRaven that I'm coming. I'm a tour guide. The owners called me, and I am carrying my gun because that house isn't a bad neighborhood. Because one block over, there's always shootings going on.
Oh wow.
So not the greatest neighborhood. And I get there, and I open the gate, go in, and the police officer, he's just got this terrified look on his face. And he's got his hand on his gun. And I'm like, "If you draw on me, I'm going to draw on you back."
Oh
I was
damn.
like, "I'm a tour guide. Calm down." I'm walking up. I'm yelling this to him. And he said, "Okay, okay." So I get up to the house. I was like, "You good?" He's like, "Man, I don't want to go in this house. I've heard of this house." I was like, "It's going to be fine. There's nothing bad here." He's like, I don't care if it's anything good or bad. I just don't want to deal with it." I was like, "Well, you got to
Mm.
go in the house to, make sure it's secure." So he probably followed me less than 2 feet behind me
Oh wow.
with his hand on his holster the entire time throughout the whole first floor. And I said, okay, we got to go up these steps in the second floor. And I was like, another thing, I need some personal space. Back off. I was like, you making me nervous.
Right?
But yeah, law enforcement, uh, we've been at locations, and this has become a policy over the years because they'll see flashlights throughout the house
Mm-hmm.
as they drive by. They'll stop and knock on the door and make sure everything's all right because they thought somebody's breaking into this house.
Right.
But we're doing a paranormal investigation, and what they find out. So now I call 911 and I give them the address and say, hey, don't publicize this. Just let your patrol officers know that at such address we're doing a paranormal investigation. We don't want to be bothered. Um, the owners are going to be there, or we're going to have an access form, signed by the owner, giving us access, and they're cool with it. As long as we do that for them and give them a heads up, they
Mm-hmm.
don't bother us. Every once in a while, if we're standing outside taking like a smoke break or something, police car will come by. Hey, what y'all doing? Oh, we're doing an investigation here. And we've actually had cops a couple times. They'll go in for a few minutes and do a session with us because they're so interested.
Right. Uh,
And
that's
yeah,
crazy.
it's a lot of fun whenever you encounter people, like that. But we don't ever really have problems with them.
Yeah, I always see though that one video on YouTube when the two sheriffs was walking down the cemetery. They got out of their cars and they walking down. They heard that big old scream, and
Yeah.
man, I've never seen two cops run so fast. I laugh every time I see that video because
Oh
it
yeah,
is so funny.
yeah. That that's just like McRaven. I mean, that cop, he was he was not having it, dude. He
Yeah,
was over being he was over it from the time they gave him the address to the house.
he probably said, "Nope, can't do it."
He was, I'm surprised he didn't try to get out of it.
Oh, I'm surprised. I'm surprised too. Normally
Yeah,
cops
they
usually, I mean, cops usually are. I mean, it depends on what situation they are. I mean, because some of them aren't having it, especially when it comes to paranormal or a situation being haunted.
yeah, and cops make great investigators for the
Oh
paranormal,
yeah, oh yeah.
and
Our,
but they also make really good skeptics as well. But I will say that there's been a couple cases because they got called to a residence,
uh-huh.
and something was reported by the homeowner. Like, hey, I think somebody's in my house, downstairs in my house. They get there and nobody's there. Because I know a couple of cops, they'll give me a call and say, hey, I need to put you in contact with this person.
Hmm.
So they actually send clients my way.
Oh, cool.
So that's been pretty cool. You know.
All right. Hey, Mr. Jerry Suarez has a question for you.
All right.
Uh, have any police officer ever shared any personal stories with you? That they recommend you going to investigate that location.
Uh, trying to think. I can't recall one right off. I know there's been several places that we've investigated that during their patrols, they'll drive by and they'll see somebody standing in a window or the door's wide open and somebody standing in a doorway or something like that. And they'll make a block and come back and nobody's there. and they know that nobody's supposed to be there, but where was that person that they just saw a minute ago before they made a block? And we're like, yeah, I've investigated that place. It's haunted. And they're like, oh, that explains it. But I don't think I've ever had, other than the couple of cases where they're like, hey, we got 911 calls from this place, and we went, checked it out. We think it might be paranormal, so, the homeowner would like to reach out to you.
Hmm.
So
Now,
that's the only time.
can you imagine dispatch? You hearing that from dispatch, or
Yeah,
you dispatch telling you something like that? That would be totally insane.
yeah, yeah.
I
And
mean,
I like to see the 911 report.
yeah, that would
Like,
be
what does
that would be
dispatch think
something.
of this? But, but talking to the that sheriff's deputy last night that was doing security, it happens. It's still some places. Back whenever he was on patrol just a few years ago, um, they would get calls every now and then. It didn't happen a lot, but they got those phone calls where they had to go into a situation where they think they're going to walk into a break-in, but ends up nobody's there.
Hmm. Or
But
somebody's
homeowners
there.
like, I heard people talking and walking on my first floor.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah, and he was telling me about that last night, and he was like, he asked me about a couple of places I've investigated. He was like, we got a call at this place. You know anything about that? I was like, yeah, investigated it. It's on. He's like,
Oh
oh, that
man.
explains a lot.
I mean, it's crazy, man. I mean, people. One one thing I know about people, dude, they have to remain. They have to be open minded to the what if. The what if. Well, if you're just a little bit open minded, and I think cops are. Because like you say, it's no telling what type of situation that they might roll into.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Hold on a second.
Oh
Whoa.
shit. Who's that neighbor?
Yeah, that's dude on a motorcycle.
Oh, okay.
And it is what it is.
Yeah, hey, that's the first. that
All,
is
all
the
he
first.
does, all he does is several times throughout the night, he'll just make a block and play his radio loud.
Oh wow, he ain't got nothing else better to do, huh?
I can think of a lot of things better to do than ride around the block listening to loud music. That's
Right.
a grown ass man doing that. I'm like, don't you have work tomorrow you need to be getting ready for?
Well, yeah. Well, hey, have anything ever followed you home, or you had to get anything out of your house?
Uh, there's been a few times. Um, I'm a staunch believer that for the most part, nothing is going to follow you home
Uh huh.
unless you're working darker kind of cases. Something malevolent, demonic, something like that.
Right.
Uh, I used to never really believe it until I had it happen to team members of mine, and then to myself. Um, went to one location. It was a private residence, and we'd been there a couple of times trying to help this family out. And woke up in the middle of the night, and I could hear footsteps, and I could hear knocking, and I was like, "Yep, time to get the house blessed."
Now is
I'll
that some,
do it.
now is that something you do yourself, or you call in a priest?
I'll do it myself. I
Okay,
think
and
I have. I I like to think of myself somebody who has a very strong faith in God,
okay,
and my faith in God to help me whenever I need it. He'll be there. So if something negative is in my house, I'll ask him, and I'll use holy water and everything. I have a good relationship with some churches here in Vicksburg. Anytime I need holy water, they'll give it to me. So I always have it on hand.
okay,
And they've taught me how to do blessings and how to do them correctly. And that's what I do. And that's what I do at my house if I start having activity, or that's what I do at a client's house.
hmm.
You know,
Okay, cool. All right, got a question for you.
all right.
Uh, Jerry Suarez says, other than the locations that you investigated, how do you try to get more locations to investigate?
Uh, I have a lot of books that I've collected over the years, and on haunted locations, Mississippi, Louisiana, Tennessee, wherever. And I'll do the research on a location. I'll see if any other groups have been there. So if another group has been there, I know it might be easy for me to get in. Um, I just contact the location owner, tell them who I am, tell them my intentions. I want to come in, I want to do a paranormal investigation. I see that you're in such such book. There's a few websites that mention y'all being haunted, and I'd like to just have a crack at seeing what kind of evidence my team can get. And a lot of times, if you're just upfront and honest with them,
Mm-hmm.
they'll say, "Okay, yeah, we'd be glad to."
Okay, cool.
And places I still want to get into where they're just very hesitant. Um, some places they'll be in books and websites and everything, and you talk to them. Oh, we're not haunted. I have 5 books, and I just read 10 websites where your staff is quoted saying a personal experience with a ghost, and you're telling me you're not haunted, so somebody's lying. And I don't think 5 authors and the authors of these publications online, I don't think they're all lying.
Exactly.
So you come
Right.
across those, but if you just let people know your intention, buy the books, research the places, look online for them,
Hmm.
just be upfront and honest, and more than likely they're going to let you in.
Right.
And I love getting places that have never been investigated before, and I've done many of those. So I've kind of tried to help open up places to other groups, not just to my own.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just, you know, I'll email them or I'll call them, but I'm just upfront and honest. That's about all I can say with it is, hey, we want to come in and do an investigation. We've read about this place, we've seen it on TV, whatever the case may be. We like to see if we can get some evidence of our own. And maybe if you have questions about your location still, maybe we'll find those answers.
Right. Right.
And a lot of times it works.
Okay. Cool. Uh, what's up, Jack? How you doing tonight, brother? Hey, appreciate the glasses, man. I appreciate things that you like them. Hey.
That was pretty sharp looking.
All right, Jerry. I have another question for you.
All right.
How do you overcome rejection on a location that you read and you heard of that you really want to investigate?
Me, I let it roll. I let it roll off my back.
I mean,
um,
that's all you can do. I mean,
yeah,
because the way I look at it, for every one person that tells me no, there's three more that would tell you yes.
exactly. And yeah, I'll get bummed a little bit. Like, man, I really want to investigate that place. But I always let the owners know, if you ever change your mind, just please keep my information and just let me know.
Yeah.
And sometimes
I mean,
I'll let a few years
that's
go
that's all
by.
you can do.
Yeah, I'll let a few years go by and I'll contact them again. Just maybe they change their mind. No, we're not there yet. You know, now I've had that happen. I've called them, a couple years or 2 or 3 years later, and we've given it some thought. We'd like for you to come in. So I
Yeah.
always have that. I'm bummed out at first, but I always keep hope that they'll change their mind. But I know that they have my contact information. If they need me to come in, I'm going to be right there for them.
Yep. Trust me, I've been down that road. No, I don't
Oh
think.
yeah,
No, no, no. I don't think that you guys are the right fit. And I'm like, okay, sir. I mean, I appreciate you. You're talking to me and all that stuff, but keep us in mind if you ever want to change your mind. But what's so crazy about it is, I had the same thing that you just talked about. They
hmm,
actually called me back 2 weeks later and said, "Hey, is there any way you can come back out here this weekend?"
yeah.
And you know what, Brian? And it kills me because I always want to ask that question. What changed your mind?
I've
You
asked
know.
that question before, and it usually comes down to, well, after we talked to you, we just kind of talked about it,
Mm-hmm.
so we got curious, or we started talking about it, like with a family. We started comparing notes of what happened to each of us. And we kind of thought, might be best if we do have an investigation done. But with that being said, I don't think every haunted location should be investigated.
Yeah, I think some of it should be left alone.
Yeah,
But then,
because, no, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
Now, I was just going to say that, if a house is haunted and a family is living there, or if it's a business or historic location, like a tour home or a bed and breakfast, whatever, um, if they're not having problems with it, why disturb it? If they know that the
Right?
ghosts are and the ghosts are just going about their own business, they're not disturbing anybody, they're not trying to hurt anybody, why go in and stir them up? Because, like I said earlier, just because we go into a location, we're saying, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. And whenever we decide that we're done, it doesn't mean that the ghosts are done. And
Mm-hmm.
so I believe that not every haunting needs to be investigated, because if it's a peaceful haunting, then why go in and make possibly stir it up to where it starts getting more and more active and it starts disrupting the business or the family's lives?
Right, right. You
Because you
definitely don't
always
want that.
have that chance of it happening.
Yes,
And
sir.
that's what a lot of groups don't understand. They think every location that's reportedly haunted should have an investigation done. And
Uh,
I just don't believe that's the case.
I agree with you on that. I mean, some things better left alone, especially if you got a family there with kids.
Yeah.
If whatever it is not bothering you and you're not bothering it, just let it be.
Hmm.
Just let it be. Hey guys, I'm chilling here with Mr. Brian from Mississippi Paranormal Society. If you guys out there that have any questions that you would like to ask this young man, feel free to do so. He's got a couple of questions. He gave some great answers. So Jerry, I hope he helped you out. Tommy,
Tommy, oh yeah, I'm looking at his comment. Thank you, Tommy.
Hey, you
Yeah,
know what?
Tommy's a good guy.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I've known Tommy for a couple years now, and met him at McRaven Tour Home at a ghost hunting event. And his group is based out of Louisiana.
Oh,
And
okay, cool.
uh, I cannot say the parish name. Uh,
Yeah. Hey, man, those
I
parents
can't remember.
got some
You'll have to
weird
type it
names.
in. Yeah, Tommy, type in your paranormal team's name. Um,
Hey,
I'm horrible pronouncing.
okay, all right,
Yeah,
Jerry. Hey, Jerry. Yeah, question from Jerry. He said he just had, an investigation from a homeowner. Just, they just wanted answers, you
yeah,
know, uh, and all that
that's a
stuff.
lot of it. That's a lot of investigations. For the most part, people
Yeah,
just get curious. They're
you
like,
know,
"Well, we've had activity here for 10 years, but we've never really looked at who is it. Do they
exactly.
want something? Are they attached to the home or an object or just the land? What's the deal?" And we're like, we'll do our best to try to find an answer.
Exactly. Hey, Tommy. Hey, man, I would love to get you on the podcast. Actually, I've been looking for a team out of Louisiana that would come on my podcast show, and just tell me a little bit about what you guys got going on down there. Hey, man, if you're interested on coming on the show, please hit me up at NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast, and we can set something up,
Do it,
with
Tommy.
you.
Do it, Tommy.
You know,
He's got a good team. He's got a good team, and if my group can't get to a location and they need help, that's a team I would recommend
okay.
because they're good, down to earth people. They think about everything. Not everything is paranormal, and they debunk stuff. They do everything that a good investigator should do. They're the real
And
deal.
and you know what? And you know what, Brian? I'm like you, brother. I can't even pronounce that parish name. what
Dude,
is it? Tugalapula? I don't know.
I, I made a. I can't remember who I was talking to last night, and I tried saying it a couple of times, and I was like, I think you have to be from Louisiana to be able to pronounce it.
Yeah, because that name is something else.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a cool sounding word whenever you can pronounce it, but I just can't pronounce it.
yeah,
So I
Tom,
just
Tom.
call them TPPS.
Yeah, there you go.
Let me see.
Tonga
Let
Parish
me get some
Paranormal Society.
comments.
That is funny. Well, what's up,
Uh,
Tom? How you doing tonight, brother? You doing all
Tangapoa.
right?
I think it's
Tongapoa. You know what?
Tangapoa, something like that.
That sound Native American,
More
if I'm
likely.
right. Yeah, that definitely sound. Tommy, if we said that right, please give us a thumbs up. Because man, and
Tommy knows my
hey,
sense of
and if you can help me out, telling me where exactly you guys are located at, what part of Louisiana? To me, that sounds like a southern part of Louisiana that you guys
yeah.
might be in.
He's probably about an. I think he had to drive like 2.5 hours to get to Vicksburg for the event last night. So it's not too far away from Vicksburg.
Yep. He said it is Native American, and we still didn't pronounce it right. I give up.
Like I
Hey,
said,
if I can't.
I think you have to be from Louisiana to be able to pronounce it.
Hey, if I give up, man. If I can't get it the first or the second time, or the third time, the fourth time, I'm out of there. You know what I'm saying? But Tommy,
Yeah,
if you want to, hey man, I would love to have you on the show, brother. Give me a call.
I think that would be a good podcast show for you. I really do. Man.
Hey, Jerry.
Yeah.
Hey, I really appreciate it, man.
Hey,
You know,
I was going to ask you, what are some of your favorite places in Texas that you've been to?
well, you know what, Brian? Most of my places has been, you know, old jails. You know,
Yeah.
some of the historic jails that they have here, they don't use. That's been dated back to the 1860s, 1870s. Uh, and some of the creepiest places that I've been to is abandoned nursing homes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, nursing homes, believe it or not, man, has a lot of death in there, and when these, people who have old timers don't really know what's going on.
Hmm.
Sometimes they want to just linger around to figure out figure out what's going on and
Yeah.
all that good stuff. But a lot of parks, historic parks
Hmm.
that we've been to. I mean, I'm pretty much like you. I mean, I don't like going to a lot of places where there's been a lot of footsteps on the ground.
Yeah.
Where there's a million and one paranormal investigators. I try to
Yeah.
avoid. And
Hmm.
besides, when you have a million and one investigators, that's where the money comes in. Because like you say,
Yeah.
everybody will go there, and I'm not digging that. I work too hard for my money to give away. You know what
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
saying?
Definitely.
So yeah, I mean, it's sometimes if it's a place that I'm a little curious about, I might pop my head in there and see what's going on. Me as uh, a paranormal investigator, half the time, when I'm traveling, it's just me and my wife. So I might
Yeah.
pop my head into a cemetery just to see what's going on, see if I
Yeah.
can pick up any readings. But, I love cemeteries. I love, people said, cemeteries are there for the dead to rest. There's really nobody
Hmm.
there. But I can prove you wrong. I mean, I've caught a lot of evidence in a lot of cemeteries
Oh, yeah. You
here
can.
in Central Texas.
Yeah. Cemeteries, I think for the most part, most people are not going to hang around their own body. They're going to go to wherever they live. But every once in a while,
Yeah.
you'll find that one spirit, or a couple of spirits that hang around the cemetery. You know,
Mm-hmm.
something, it, maybe they're buried with something that holds that energy there, that
Oh
attracts
yeah.
that spirit back to that grave.
And one thing, and the biggest thing about Texas is we have a lot of Native American landmarks.
Yeah.
Native Americans ruled this place.
Yeah.
They were here before us. Hell, they'll probably be here long after we're gone.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
and the Texas Mexican War. We got a lot of historic battlegrounds down here.
Hmm.
It really depends on what you want to investigate because everything here is so open.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you go into the northeast area, up in the piney woods of Texas, I
Hmm.
mean, there's no telling what you'll find. There's a lot of paranormal investigators up there that we're really not in getting much as far as ghosts or anything. But hey, there's plenty of sightings for Bigfoot. So
Yeah.
they eventually will go from paranormal investigating to, hunting Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And which it's cool with me.
I've never gotten into Bigfoot or UFO hunting. Um, I'm I'm not going to say that I don't believe 100% in aliens, but See, I'm a skeptical believer.
Ah,
I'm going to have to see it myself.
to
I
believe
want Marvin the Martian to get out of his little spaceship and come up to me and say, "Greetings, Earthling."
it.
You
Hey,
know,
when you do, you make sure you take. I want his shoes. He got some
yeah,
of the coolest shoes
right,
ever.
right. I want the helmet.
I want them. Hey, I don't know if those are Chucks or Converse Jetsons. I mean Converse. I mean I don't know what they are, but
I
they
don't
are
know.
cool.
I have to go back and look, but yeah, they're cool. Look, I remember the shape of them and everything. They're pretty cool. But I'm just one of those. I'm a skeptical believer in ghosts, but I know what I've seen. But I've
Right.
never experienced anything with UFOs. I've never experienced anything with Bigfoot. I, I don't know if Bigfoot exists or not. There's people that swear up and down that they do. Uh, More power to them. But I want to see a
Right.
fucking body. I
Okay.
want to
Well,
see the
hey,
dead body.
that yeah, that's crazy. All right, I got a question for you,
Okay.
Brian. This is a question that Tom is asking from out of Odessa, Texas, which is out there in the middle of West Texas.
Okay.
Uh, do you think that spirits will welcome in a new spirit, for say, in a funeral, or do they stay to themselves?
Hold on a second. Um, do you think other spirits will welcome in a new spirit for say funeral? Welcome that spirit, or I don't know. I honestly, I don't know how to answer that. That would be something I'd like to explore. You know,
Interesting question.
yeah, it really that's a deep question, man. Really deep. Um, I don't know. Wow, I don't get stumped very much. That's something
I
that
got you.
that's a deep question. That's philosophical right there. Wow. Um, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I mean, if the spirit's already there and there comes a new spirit, um, will they welcome them? It. I've always been the one to believe that spirits have their own dimensions. Sometimes those paths will cross and they'll recognize each other. I have heard stories, I've never encountered it myself, of two spirits fighting for dominance in a location. Um, well, no, I guess well, there's been a couple places where spirits will try to manipulate other spirits and try to hold them trapped at a location.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know. That's a new spirit going into a location that's already haunted. It depends on if their dimensions cross and they do recognize one another. Because from what I've always been told by like mediums and stuff, that a lot of times most spirits don't even know that other spirits are there. They
Oh
may not even
wow.
know that the living are there because they're just doing their own thing. And sometimes our paths cross, those lines cross, and they may recognize us or we might recognize them. It might be the same thing with a new spirit going into a location. Uh, I don't. That's a deep question. I don't think about that one.
Yeah, I was about to say you're gonna be thinking about that one for the rest
I'm
of the
gonna be
night.
researching it. I'm gonna be making a few phone calls. That is a cool ass question. I really like that question. Um, who is that? Tom Bailey. Yeah, thanks for the good question, man.
Yeah, that's old Tom for you. He would definitely ask you a question like that, something that would twist your mind and make you want to think. You know,
Okay,
but
he's saying family spirits greeting new family spirit. Okay, like if
well,
somebody in a family died and you have grandma and grandpa haunting a home and their son lives in the home and he dies, do they welcome him there as a
you know
ghost?
what?
I guess so.
I can see
Maybe
that.
if they got along in life, sure.
You know, because I've heard evidence on family members on their deathbed, and
Yeah,
and they know they fixing to go,
yeah,
but for that brief moment, they'll be talking to somebody that you can't see in that
yeah,
particular corner. It's like, oh, my mom is here, oh, my aunt is here. So I kind of see that. They
yeah,
come and
yeah,
get them and take them away,
yeah,
or, yeah. So
yeah. Come
I
join us on this
guess.
side. Yeah, yeah, that's still a deep question, and I know a few people will call and get their input on it. Because I love questions like that that make me think.
And make you go, hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Sound
And
like one of them. What's old boy name on that talk show? Arsenio Hall.
oh yeah,
The comments that make you go, hmm.
yeah, yeah,
And that's one of those.
yeah,
You know what
and
I'm
yeah, I'm
saying?
gonna be
So
having
yeah,
some
definitely.
conversations in the next few days about that, and I'll let you know what
Hey,
what
well, you
I'm
know what? Let
going
me know
told.
too, because I'm just as curious on what people might
Oh
think.
yeah,
You know,
definitely. We
uh,
might have to do a quick Facebook Live on that sometime.
you know what? Don't tempt me now, Brian. I might do that. Hey, you know what, dude? We've been talking for almost 2 hours,
Oh
and
wow,
it's yeah, time runs when you on these bad boys,
and you're having fun.
and
You
you're
know,
having
this has
fun.
been a fun night.
Yeah, and then I'm getting to meet an interesting, a person,
Well, thank you.
that
Me
we
too.
can, yeah, yeah. And that's what the podcast is all about, man. Reaching out, getting to to meet new people, to share their stories, and getting to know each other,
Yeah.
and hopefully become a lifelong friend.
Oh, definitely.
You know
And
what I'm
that's one thing
saying?
I like about this field because I have friends in this field. Some of my closest friends are paranormal investigators, and they're not just friends or family. You know, they become part of my family. And that's one thing I'm really careful with whenever I bring people onto my team.
Uh huh.
Are they going to come into my family and be family, or are they going to be here just for a short amount of time?
Right.
You know, and yeah, some of my best friends are paranormal investigators, and they're like brothers and sisters to me.
There you go. Yeah, some
And
of mine are the same way.
yeah, man, you got good energy with you, and I'm gonna tell you, keep doing what you're doing, man.
Oh,
I'm
well,
enjoying it.
you know what? I appreciate it. And Tom, no, nobody has beat that 3 hour. Well, that was the longest podcast I ever done. 3 hours. Woo! Yeah, that was a long night, my brother. But you know what? I don't think I'll do that again.
3 hours on a podcast is a
Yeah.
long time.
Hey man, we were talking about everything. Time flew. An
Oh yeah,
hour, 30 minutes turned into an hour. Hour
yeah,
turned into an hour and a half.
oh
Just
yeah,
that quick. Just like
yeah.
me and you talking. It almost 2 hours, and and time flies when you're
It
having
does
a good time. You
exactly.
know, and that's why I've decided to do a create a podcast show just for this purpose, to meet people, get, just getting to know them
Mhm.
personally, hearing stories, and all that stuff, and just, and just have a lifelong friend,
Yeah,
and just, just check on you every now and then, see how things going. If you're ever this way,
yeah,
feel free to stop on in, Brian. All right, Brian. Okay, Brian. How do you feel about Para Unity, Brian?
love it, love it. We should all work together. We're in this for many reasons, but the core reason that we should be in this is to learn about it. We can learn
Yep.
from each other. We
Exactly.
can help each other out. Groups. If I can't take a case, I want to be able to reach out to another group and say, "Hey, I got this case. This family, they need some help. I can't do it. I want to send this case to you." That's paranormal unity.
And that's the way it
Yeah,
should be.
yeah. Doing ghost hunting events together. Last
Yeah.
night, I had three groups. Tommy's group, uh, one of my friends she's like a sister to me, her group, and my group. Three groups. That's paranormal unity doing an event to raise money for a place.
Yep.
And that's what it's all about, is working together, having fun, learning from one another, teaching one another, and I hate seeing the bickering and fighting between groups because it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah. That's
sad.
horrible, dude. I
There's
mean,
so much shit going on in this world that you're going to fight over haunted places or a theory that might be different. I mean, get over yourself.
exactly. Because it's not that serious. You know what I'm saying? Hey, what's up, Marianne? How you doing? What's up, Ricky? How you doing? All right, hey, we're chilling with Mr. Brian tonight out of Mississippi. You guys got any questions that you want to ask? Feel free to do so. Yeah, yeah. Like Jerry saying, not a lot of paranormal investigators feel that way. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Jerry, we were just talking about that right before you came on, and it's a damn shame on how things are out there. You know, but you
Just
know
like I
what?
said earlier, a lot of people that are getting into this field now, they want to do it with digital. They want to be digital creators, and they want to try to overshadow groups just for their own personal gain. And I see a lot of that going on right now. And
Mm-hmm.
having a podcast or a Facebook live show, that's cool. But whenever you're doing it just for popularity, that will end up showing in the end.
Oh yeah, always,
You always will get exposed, and
always.
people will always watch you, and they'll finally get clued in if you're authentic in your feelings about the paranormal in a good way or a bad way. And we need more good in this field.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Always. No ifs and buts about it. Well, hey
Exactly.
guys. Uh, you know what? I really hate to shut this down, but I am hungry, Brian.
Get you some eat, man.
I am gonna go get me something to eat. Hey guys, Brian, before we leave, tell the
Yeah.
world how to get a hold of you, brother.
Uh, you can find us on. We have a website. I'm gonna try to shorten the name of it, but right now it's www.mississippi.paranormalsociety.com. I have to update that.
Mm-hmm.
It is a little bit of out of date because Facebook, we, we have Mississippi Paranormal Society on there. Um, you can message us on there as well as our website. Follow me on Instagram, Brian Riley or MS Para Society. Um, I'm about to restart my own podcast, the MPS Case Files.
There you go.
Yeah, and gonna try to find a good home for it, but it covers the uh, haunted locations that we've been to over the
Mm-hmm.
years. I'll tell the history and what we, all the experiences that people have had and what we found in our investigations and my thoughts on it overall. But yeah, Facebook is the best place to get a hold of us.
Yep. All right. Hey, you guys want to get a hold of Mr. Brian? Hey, man, pretty cool guy. So feel free to reach out to him if you guys got any questions or you just want to talk. Just feel
Oh
free to
yeah,
reach out to him, man. He would definitely have a conversation with you.
oh yeah, I'm a talker.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I didn't say that. He did. Hey, I
I
don't
did.
want to. Hey, I love a talker. I think I'm a talker myself.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, but hey, like I say, feel free to reach out to this gentleman. He's open, to talk with you guys. If you guys got any questions about anything, he's been in the field for a very long time, so he's pretty
yeah.
knowledgeable. And just like everybody else, we're still learning as we go.
I'm still learning
So
too.
yeah, we're still learning as we go. Let's see here. Miss you too, guys. Tom, stay out of trouble. Mr. Brian, it has been a pleasure. Please send me your. I have you on Messenger, but please send me your direct number, so
Yeah, I
I
sure
won't
will.
have. So I won't have to call you on Messenger, and I know those things are
Well, I
I
think
really
you
hate
still have
dealing
my
with
number.
that phone.
I think you have my number. I'll text you back in a few minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Text. Well, let's see here.
Yeah, it's a 601
Uh,
6. Yeah,
well, wait. Yeah, I
because
do
we
have
text
it.
this
I'm
morning.
sorry.
Yeah, we text
Yep,
each other
I
this
sure
morning.
do.
You had a
Yeah,
long day.
but I got it on the Mississippi Paranormal, and that's
Uh,
why
that, that's my
yeah.
number too. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, that's what. Hey, Wait World, what's going on? Hey man, just sitting here talking to Mr. Brian. Hey, had a pretty good podcast. Hey, if you want this guy to be on your podcast, dude, hey, he is very, very knowledgeable in the paranormal. So hey, feel free to
Yeah,
talk to this
hit me up.
guy. He would love to be on your podcast. So
And,
all
and
right,
Tommy Brumfield, reach out to him.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh man, I forgot about that guy.
Oh,
All
yeah,
right,
he's a good dude.
all right, Tom, you need to reach out to me, brother. Hey, contact me on Messenger at NSPS TV Paranormal. I would love to get you guys on the show and see what you guys are up to over there. And trust me, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. You can hang that one up. Hey, all right. Hey, Brian, I really appreciate you coming on, brother. Hey, you
Thank
have
you for having
yourself a
me.
good night.
You too.
Hey, and the minute you found out about that question, or if you found the answer to that question that Tom asked, please call me
Yeah,
because I want to know too.
I'm actually, I'm gonna go back to that question and screenshot it.
Hey guys, hey, make sure you go hit that like, share, subscribe button to all of Brian's pages. Check out some of his content. And let's show the brother some love. One more comment before I get out of here. Uh, Tom, bye, Tom. Tom is off the chain. Hey, Brian. Hey, it's been a pleasure, brother,
Man, thank you
talking
so
with
much.
you. And hey, make sure you give me a call when you figure that out. All right.
I will. I just
All right.
screenshot that question so I know exactly how to ask it to a couple other people.
All right, guys. Hey, you guys have a safe night. See you guys next weekend, same time, Same show. I think next week I will be. Hell, I don't know where I'll be next week. Let's find that. Let's do this right quick. Let's find out where I'm headed to. Next weekend, I am in. Oh, that's the. Hey, I will be in New Mexico. I'm
Oh,
headed
nice.
from Mississippi to New Mexico. So, hey, please check out that podcast, guys. In the meantime, Brian, have a good night. Everybody have a good
You
night.
too.
Peace.